peekaboo.
Oh, not you again.
Oh, don't seem so glum-chum. Today I'm the bearer of good news.
And what might that be?
Well, if you go to patreon.com/CollyWhisson, you can subscribe for an ongoing series of art tutorials and monthly podcasts, all at an affordable price.
I already knew that. I'm Collie Whisson.
But did you know if you like, comment, and subscribe on any of Collie Wisson's YouTube videos, it enables us to make even more of what you love.
Oh, I hadn't considered it that way before.
And if you ring the notification bell, you never miss a video. It's a win-win-win.
You know what, Buckmaster Charles III? You're not a bad guy after all.
So does that mean we're pals?
No.
This is probably a little bit more of a simplified composition in comparison to some of the really complex ones, but interesting thing is, normally the simpler a subject or scene is, normally means we have to work a little harder actually on those elements that we are putting in, especially this shape. This one's really the kind of the linchpin, and it can look out of place because it's such a big, strong vertical shape. It's the split point lighthouse, and if you're not Australian, you may not sort of be aware of the connection of this lighthouse with Australian television history and Australian culture. The TV show was called Round the Twist, made in the early sort of to mid-90s, more of sort of a young teenager sort of, younger person sort of show, but it was just quite quirky and had a great theme song and sung by one of the actors in the show, and I think it was more the surrounds as well, the landscape around that. I think that always inspired me. I didn't really watch too many of the shows myself, but I knew of the show, and so it was great to actually get to the actual location that they did the filming in. And I think this foreground is possibly the trickier one because it looks like they've cleared this little area, and so the shapes are a little random. They're not, or a little unorganised, and I think that's due to not being a natural or native scene. The background is all sort of untouched, and you can see how I've got those blues, the bluey greens, and then I'm starting to put in some of the warmer values, and that's almost the exact or ideal way to work, is to think in those terms, in more going back, background, mid-distance, foreground. So often we're sort of thinking, look what's in front of me, I'm painting this, what can I put in from left to right, top to bottom, but it should be more thought, background, foreground. That aspect is super important with painting because we have that one-dimensional board. We're trying to create this three-dimensional effect. So it's a matter of mimicking nature, the Earth's blue atmosphere. So that's why we're putting as much blue into the shape. So there's blue reflected light on the lighthouse. We actually did have a look at it from about 3 or 4 different directions. And over to my left, there's actually a great angle, but it's private property, and it was probably the original lighthouse keeper's residence. And there's a great backyard, and from Google, it looked like it was part of an area that was like picnic ground or parkland, and we were hoping to be able to have got into that. So just shows best laid plans never always work out as you expect. That's why it's always good when travelling and plein air painting, and to have a plan B and C, and that kind of goes with painting in the studio as well. Rarely will a painting from my initial observation to calculations that I'm making to the finished painting, they never go, or rarely go exactly as we expect or as we hope. So that's why it doesn't hurt to hope for the best, plan for the worst. I think it's probably the best saying for painting. And I think that raises the aspect that I've there's almost two types of painters. Painter that kind of does a lot of similar scenes, and that's perfectly fine either way, but it's the artist's work that you'll sort of see their work and you'll think, oh geez, I've seen something like that before, that building or farmhouse or street scene or cafe scene or whatever it may be. And then there's the other type of painter that isn't as, and that was suggested to myself when I was about 35. A good artist friend said, it'll be the harder road to go, but far more rewarding if you try to be as individual or as original each time you choose a subject, not to go for something that your followers or your collectors sort of have already seen you do. And with that, there's a higher rate of failure as well, because you're having to really reinvent yourself a little more often. It's very hard to do every single painting every day, but that's the general idea that I've tried to live by. And I think that's what I love to do, yeah. Chickens and interiors and lighthouses and you name it, and drone work, so getting an aerial perspective. I think that's what I've always loved, to be more inventive anyway, to have to scramble to work out how to solve the problems that I have in front of me. And this little foreground was getting away from me, I felt, and I think the trouble was I had too many individual shapes, not unification. It's so important to have that unified area, whether it's a big area of the foreground, and especially of the foliage, but with a little bit of variation. So just putting in the final little touches now, just about to finish up.
Yeah, that foreground really did give me some trouble, but that's part of painting. You kind of have to try and learn as much as you can in each painting, build up strategies for future paintings, but making the most of it in that moment. I hope this one didn't send you around the twist. Thanks for watching. All the best. Bye for now.
He's coming back, I'm sure of it. Just like Father did.